Appreciate you joining. Let's get going. For those of you who follow the huddle every day, I apologize for not being on yesterday. I had some things I had to take care of that were urgent, so everything's good, but we're back on track today. We did put out some guidance in the room that played out pretty accurately yesterday, which I'll kind of show you guys here towards the end. But it was overall a really great day of trading for the room. So I'm going to jump into the market side of things. First, I want to talk about the SPY. I want to give kind of like the overall picture, right? So I don't, because as you guys know who've been following me for a while, I believe in kind of trading the direction of the least amount of risk, right? And we scalp in our room, so we love to trade with the trend. Obviously, that's where you're going to be most profitable, but you can't black and white it as always just trade with the trend without zooming out and seeing the overall picture. So a couple things going on with the SPY. First off, I want to say the SPY and stocks are doing something very different than crypto, right? It's back in the day, it was like, hey, stocks are up, crypto's up, and stocks are going down, crypto's going down, right? But crypto's kind of just doing its own things. We'll talk more about that one here shortly. But I want to show you what I'm watching on the actual SPY, right? Because that's what we typically trade options in our room. So if you look back here, I want you guys to go to the daily if you're following on the charts, and you can see right here we had a nice, just nasty rejection. This rejection came all the way from 432 all the way down to 355, right? Imagine if you caught that long-term put. The reason why I bring that up is one, we have not tested that until recently, and we still have not quite been able to actually touch it. So we're going to focus in on this line once we get into that. But I also wanted to have you guys look. So our zone tracker is picking up, that same resistance, not only from here, but heavily through here, right? That's why you have a nice big red line here. And we have our blue line up there, right? Which is kind of the ceiling. So, that coupled with the fact we have this rising wedge on the daily, right? And we're at the very top of this wedge. So, yes, we could see more upside. We could see upside as high as 435, depending when we hit it, 436. And then we could lose that, right? We create a higher high here, right? But it's likely going to hit that and reject all the way back down to potentially like 406. Not only that, but we are getting close to the end of this rising wedge pattern. So, what people get so excited when we see these kind of run up, same thing we saw here, right? And then they get trapped in these longs and get wrecked. So the only way that I'm going to do a longer term call or believe that, hey, we're going bull market or like, we're about to run is if I see it flip this resistance as support. So if we break above it and then we just kind of, go into an accumulation stage here where we're holding support, I mean, it could just shatter this wedge, right, and invalidate it. The rising wedge here, what I would really like to see is, more of a bearish divergence for us to see this really play out on the daily side of things. We do, once upon a time here, we had it because we were kind of creating this equal. We had a little bit of a bearish here, but yet we're continuing to move up, right? So it's kind of there, but it's not as apparent as I would like it to be. So keep in mind this is the daily, right? So it just might not be ready for that break. But I want to go into, I just wanted to kind of do that overview. So now let's go into like the 1 hour. So the 1 hour, a little shorter time frame here. This is what we've been kind of watching in the room. We have this upper white line here. Not really strong, right? It's only 2 points. It tried to break, it couldn't, it fell below, and then it basically got saved by the 21 SMA, and it's kind of holding that. It broke it, reclaimed it, broke it, now it's reclaimed it. Just keep an eye on this, guys, because on the 1 hour time frame, we did have that divergence. I don't know that that's quite played out yet. We did get a flip to the red side, right, which typically, like you see here where it flipped, we had a nice actual pullback, right, and here where the red flipped, right, we had a really good pullback. So we could be kind of setting up a double top here. Another retest of this white line, which would be around 429, 430 before that break south, right? So if you look here, it's been since Wednesday right here, May 24th, since we've touched the 1 hour 200 EMA. We didn't even quite make it down on this one, right? We ended up creating this this bounce off of this little mini trend line that was formed. And then, so we haven't really touched this, right, for the retest. And if you look back in, historical data, no matter how high we come up, right, we always retest it. Now, doesn't mean that we're coming down to here, right? It could take some time for us to retest it, and we could end up hitting it up here. It's possible, right, if we're going to stay very bullish. But keep an eye on this 200 because we will retest this. If I'm looking at a bullish aspect, I'm going to anticipate a push up to 431 before we, work our way back down for the retest, or as possibly as high as 435, like we talked about, right? But there's definitely a lot of bearish formations showing up. If you come into kind of the smaller time frame, like the 15-minute, right? You can kind of see that, even in here, right, that we're starting to see a little bit of weakness. I mean, and the reason why I say that is if you notice right here, although our pre-market is up, which is great, we had a massive influx of volume right at market close, and it pushed up and then just got rejected, right? So that shows that the bears are just not really wanting it to go past that price. So my plan, guys, is as long as I stay up here is to stay put. I'm just going to wait for the proper setup. Overall, we just have just a nasty downtrend. If you can almost kind of like take a trend line right here, right, and you can kind of line this up like that, and follow that, right. If we continue that trend line like that, that's going to continue that divergence. So just play your range, guys. That's all I say. With the SPY. So as far as the high, I'd say 435, probably more likely 431, over the next few days. If we do break that double top, I would suspect we'll probably pull back to at least 423, maybe 422. We do have some gap fills that we have not completed right here. So on our 15-minute, so this is actually calling for a pullback, around close to 421, 422. The 5-minute, which is super accurate on this gap fill one, is showing that most of the gaps are filled. This one got filled here. I don't really see much through here. There is a couple down in this range here. So the 5-minute's not really showing that gap fill. We are showing we're a little more bullish than bearish. But keep in mind, a gap fill indicator, the one we created, is when this becomes too much bullish, it always has to reverse. It just always does. So it's not far from making a call of a bearish potential gap fill. So that could be maybe that push north a little bit right before that bearish gap fill hits. We are up on the pre-market. I know how I am with the stocks on the market opens. Typically when we're up on the pre-market, it tends to pull back before it shoots back up. Or if we're down in the pre-market, it typically likes to pump up and then shoot down. So we'll see how that plays out today. I spent a lot of time on the SPY, so I'm not going to do too much on the SPX, but these are some ranges that I watched. The SPX, I follow the candles on the after hour, so it shows a little different story. We do kind of still have that lower RSI showing that weakness, and we're kind of maintaining the same range, right? So we're starting to see the bearish divergence on the 1 hour a little bit more on the SPX because it's showing more candles because it's marking all the after hour. We do have a double top, back crab, bunch of stuff in here. We did have a 5-0 pop. Now, if you look at our indicator, it's so freaking patient. We had a long pop here, and it has not thrown a short yet on the 1 hour, right? So once that short pops in there, that coupled with the divergence, man, that's I'm gonna take probably a 50 contract trade on that one and make just a ton of money. So if you're not using the indicator, you guys can come into the room. We trade as well, but I'd highly recommend to use these indicators if you're not, because they're extremely accurate. So SPX, as far as the upper lower range, I mean it has to flip for like 42.91, 42.92. It's just struggling. Right now it's in a squeeze between this SMA and that resistance line. I still believe we need to retest this 200 EMA, which is around 42.35, which puts the SPY around what we talked about. So that's the range I would play. Now, if I'm going to be extra bullish on the SPX, I would need this to break, not only break it like it did here, but I want to see a pretty significant break. Something like if you take these 2 points like this, right? I want to see a break up, hit off here, come back, and find support on a higher low. probably somewhere like if you take these two peaks like this, right? And this would, as you guys see here, kind of form a wedge, right? So it could come up like this, come down here, create a higher high, come up here and like a kind of like a fake or bull trap, which is, if you look 43.24, which would be roughly around 431 on the SPY, right? So that would actually line up for what I think the SPY is going to do too, because that would be this rising wedge, which would come back and break back down. So that's kind of the range I would watch on the SPX. The Dixie, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Y'all remember we called this bounce here up to this red line. It literally hit that perfectly, and then rejected off, which is what caused us to push up a lot in the markets. And now we're just kind of ranging sideways. The key level and probably the only level I would watch on the Dixie is going to be on the 1 hour. You're going to want to watch this 200 EMA. If you look at it, we are right below it. It's trying to, basically it lost it, reclaimed it, lost it, reclaimed it. It's, we had our double top here break, and it's still trying to reclaim it. If we can hold above this, right, we're going to see another nice little push up attempt at this red line. However, if we just continue to resist off this, right, we're going to see some further downside, which is going to basically put some northern movement in the markets. So not going to spend a lot of time on the tech stocks, guys, but if you guys are trading these tech stocks and you want to come into the room and trade with us, I'm happy to do the full TA on it. At the end of the day, y'all seen the push by Apple of 184. I talked about, I think it was like Thursday or Friday last week that, we could see a push up because we did get that higher retest. But somebody asked me in the room and I was like, man, I don't think it's going to hold. There's not a lot of strength. If anything, we have a lot of, little mini bearish stuff kind of going on. We did get our red pop here. And you can see it didn't hold, right? We actually pulled back on Apple a little bit. I mean, guys, Apple's dealing with all-time highs, so you have to play your range. I mean, if you were chasing a long or a call on Apple up here when it's like literally at an all-time high, I mean, you are gambling, and I wish the best of luck to you, but you're not doing it because of TA, because we're literally at a ceiling, right? If you want to chase a long, or you think Apple's just going to the moon, way up here, I would want to see a break up above this all-time high, levels, and a hold of support, right? Then I'll take that call. But you taking calls up here, not to be harsh about it, but we always joke about, I like to thank you, because if you're taking a call up here, then I'm likely taking the put, and I appreciate you, because we're likely taking your money. So be smart about it, guys. Play your range. So, but Apple, you can see is slightly down. You can see over here on Microsoft, pre-market slightly down. You can see on Google we're slightly down, about even really. And you can see on Amazon we're slightly down. So keep in mind, I follow these because these are leading stocks that push the SPY, right, which is what I trade. So when these are all starting to show weakness, right, what do you think the SPY is going to do? So Bitcoin, this one is exciting, guys, and I'm super looking forward to my ATAs to see what they did. But you guys have known for some time, for those of you guys who've been following me way back when we were at 31K up here, I've been telling everybody I've been staying short mostly. You guys have seen that through my ATAs as well, and it's just played out perfectly. My call was that we will potentially come as low as 23.6, but this was going to be a landmine area. That's what I kept calling in the room, and just to show people like how I had seen that, right, is you have heavy resistance right here, right, and this was kind of like a neckline, for that inverse head and shoulder, and so my anticipation is people were going to think that, okay, if we have a pullback, we're going to have an initial bounce off of what was once resistance turn support, plus it's also the neckline, right? So as we talked about, and so my call to everybody, I even put it out in the room yesterday, is to be really careful with that pullback, because it's not going to last. It's a landmine area. And so you can see not only we hit it a few times here. My call was this green line 25,279, and we hit 25,332, so pretty close, not too bad. But we did get that landmine area. For anybody wondering what that terminology when I use it, this is what I mean. What I mean is we come down, we hit an area, we hit an area, we hit an area, and think about it like a landmine, right? You keep stepping on it, keep stepping on it, and eventually, boom, it explodes. That's what it means. Now, what that means to the ATAs is you want to be aware of these landmine areas because the ATA is extremely smart, and it's very, very good at trading these kind of things. But even as a trader, right? I mean, if you don't know better, right, and you don't know this is potentially coming, you're in here taking shorts, and now you're just stuck, and you're wrecked. You're either hit a stop loss, or you got liquidated, or you're just super deep, right? Um, the one thing I want to give a shout out for our indicators. I told you guys our indicators are sick. Look at our zone tracker here. It actually called this resistance level. It's been calling it for some time. Not only did we call that landmine area, right, the pump, but we actually called the rejection, right, and that rejected all the way back as about $1,000 rejection. So if you were playing those range like I know CK and I were, I mean, you made some great money on this pump here and the rejection shorting that back down. So as far as where we go from here, I put out some TA in the room, but you can see the most important thing, guys, and I've talked about this for a while, hitting that 25K was huge because now we have officially filled our gap. So what does that mean on the larger scale of things? It means that we could go up and we could go down. There's no pressure of the gap fill anymore. And you can see, even on a shorter time frame, you look at our indicator. I mean, we're like almost 50-50. I mean, that's just nuts, right? So, if you're trading this, you may want to wait for a setup. To play out, or wait for the indicators, right, to make those calls as far as the direction that you're going to go, because it's not real clear. Now, if you're running an ATA, you're probably pretty good to run it short and long, as we'll probably at some point pump up here to around 27.9 or so, but we could still fall down for this retest, right? So you're kind of in that middle of the range to play the long and the short. Just keep it at 1 DCA, which we'll talk about here on the ATAs shortly. So let's go into ETH. I didn't put this out on the daily insights for you guys. Let's look at the harmonic one here. But ETH was really the same thing, guys. If you look at this, we got this is the 2 minute. Let's go to here. I'm gonna mute the harmonic just for a moment. All right, so this was the landmine area here. It didn't quite make as low as I thought it would. I thought that when Bitcoin fell down to that 25, ETH would actually pull down to this 17, because this was technically the neckline if you pull out somewhere in this range, right? But it actually held stronger, which is super impressive on ETH. So be really careful when you're shorting ETH. Just be really careful, guys, because ETH actually showed a lot more strength than Bitcoin. If you take the kind of a trend line like this, right, this is where you could have anticipated that bounce, right? So you had your 1-2 touch. We got a perfect bounce off of here, which was about 1777. And then we just kind of ranged. It tried to retest, created a higher low. Instead of like Bitcoin, it created a lower low. And then it just exploded with Bitcoin, right? And then rejected off there. So definitely, the signs were there, right? So it's very profitable trade for those who are in the room and kind of have studying these. I'm sure you guys made just a ton of money. So and we, a lot of the ATAs just absolutely crushed it on this one here. If you not the ETH but the Bitcoin, you can see on the trading floor here, Alvin, I tell you, you keep getting a lot of shout outs, but it's pretty amazing what you've done with your black box ATA. So you can see Alvin here. Let me go back a little bit further. I want to show you guys. So right here is what we put out in the room. If you guys can see that on TikTok, you can pause to read. But basically, we talked about the fact that, be really careful, guys, on your ATAs, because, the news could push us further down. It's possible with Binance, Coinbase, everything going on. But you can see, we are in landmine territory, and we could see a big pushback straight to 27K, right, which is what we talked about. And so Alvin was one that I know among many who took the advice, and so he actually pulled back on his shorts, and you can see his ATA made a trade of almost $1,300 on one trade on that long, so that's awesome. You can see he's actually trading the black box account, but he's only trading BTC, just kind of following the guidance. He's up 5K in 6 days. So I mean that's just absolutely insane. But that's the power of the product, guys. And the beauty is, Alvin will tell you, if you're on TikTok, you could probably chime in. Um, it's minimal engagement with it. He's playing the range up, down, minimal engagement, and then just letting it do its thing. CK crushed it, yesterday on a Big Get Futures, made 20K. So just an overall amazing day yesterday, guys, in the room. Let's jump into the ATAs because I only got about 10 minutes left, and I do like to respect your guys' time. So I'm just going to load Aave because I know we're running it, but as you guys know, I open these alerts here, and I use this as my kind of my to-do list, right? So we'll open this up. So we're currently, if you're following me, we were running Aave long, ETH long, ETH short, LTC long, LTC short, Matic long, Sol long, and Sol short. So we were very extended, right, for this big push. So I want to kind of see how that has played out. So it looks like Aave, we did get our second DCA, so that's awesome. Our entry moved all the way down to about $63, so we're only about $2 away. So Aave's looking like it's going to be in good shape. We only need just another little push north, and we'll be out of that Aave trade. So I'm not going to touch it because I've already DCA'd 2 times. You can pause to read if you didn't follow it. That's kind of what I did. And we're only running Aave long. We did not start Aave short. Yeah, we did not start Aave short, and I'm not going to start an Aave short. So let's jump into the next one, which is ETH. So ETH is an interesting one because I know we were stuck, I think, slightly up and slightly down. So I want to kind of see if all this crazy movement got me out. All right, perfect. So check this out, guys, how well this played. Man, that was actually, dang. Look at this, guys. Remember we were stuck in this long here? So we set this DCA range just above this point. Look at how it hit that point. That is awesome. Literally hit right off the red line that we had. Remember, this is why we set that DCA slightly higher than the red line, because it came down. The ATA caught the DCA. Guys, I want to show you the power of the ATA is look at how quickly this moved, right? If you're not watching, or you go to the bathroom, or you're just not looking, you're not going to catch that. And that's how quickly it can actually catch that and make a powerful trade for you, because by doing that, it moved my entry all the way from 1891 all the way down to 1830. That's a big move. And look at it. It just kind of ranged, stayed patient, boom, got out in profit. And then so far it's taken since, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a DCA, and this is our 6th trade. So we are out. We're actually not in a long right now. So 15 days, made $66 on the long. Not too bad on the 5K account, because remember, there was about probably, I think, like 6 or 7 days it was stuck in a long, right? But it, the most powerful thing aside from the strategies and the code of the ATAs is patience. There's the worst thing as a trader you can have is not have patience and not have discipline. And the beauty is the ATAs actually have both. So just absolutely crushed it. The TA on that second DCA was perfect. So super happy about that. So now keep in mind, guys, we have to reset because we did get out of it. We're not in a trade right now at all. I'm okay with running long still, but I don't want to do the second DCA. So all I have to do is uncheck that second DCA. Now make sure that it doesn't change this. If it does, that it's okay. Because see, as I uncheck it, now it didn't get out, right? It got out up here, but it didn't get out where I had it. But it's okay. You don't need to modify that. It's going to modify this a little bit, but I'm okay with that too. My suggestion is if you take it and you reset it, just move up your close candle date. So you're going to come down here, and you're just going to take this and put it on today's date, which is 6/7/8/54. And what that does is it pulls your yellow, because see, we're not in a trade anyways, but we don't really have to do that. But I like to pull this yellow one up because it just gives me a stat refresh. It's just a nice refresh, right, of everything. So now that we've changed this, you guys know we have to come in here and delete this alert. You just simply delete the alert. You're going to come into here, add alert, ATA, Gambit, ETH, long, and then you hit create, and we're done with our ETH. So now let's let's mute that. Let's make sure it popped in that ETH long again, because remember last time we closed it out a little bit too soon, so it didn't actually make the alert. So we'll keep an eye on that, make sure it does. So the short doesn't look like it made it out quite yet. Oh, actually it did. Okay, look. Guys, look at this. Look at this short. So we remember we did the second DCA back there. It caught the crash, but look at how quickly it closed that. Same thing on the flip, right, for the DCA. Remember I was talking to you guys about how we box the objective of these ATAs is you're doing long, you're doing short, but you want to always keep those entries moving closer, right? And we played that perfectly because look, it sold the short, got back into a short here, took a short DCA, got into a short there, took a short, sold it, took a short, sold it, did take a short here, did one DCA, so it's a little bit stuck again on the short. Entries like 18, 20. I'm not going to add a second DCA quite yet, guys, because it's just so new. I mean, there's really no point in rushing this, right? There's no point in pushing it. So we'll sit tight on the ETH short. I'm not gonna make any changes. So this was kind of you can pause to read the settings that we had that got us to this point. I'll likely add a second DCA if we don't see another push down. I mean, we got a little double top forming, so we may see a push down, at least retest here. If I add a second DCA, it's likely going to be somewhere up in this range here, but yeah, I'm not. It's soon. I'll let this run a day. We'll see what happens, and then we'll make another assessment on that one tomorrow. So ETH, we're good. Let's take a look at LTC. Let's see if that one got out. And this is actually pretty exciting, guys. I didn't look at this at all, even yesterday. And so I had no idea. I just, it's like I told the guys in the room, it's so amazing when you can just trust the technology and I don't have to stress about it. LTC, we know, is out of stuff because it's trading like a monster here. So let's take a look at the long. We did a DCA. Remember, it's the same thing. We set the second DCA TA right here off this red line, anticipating a bounce. Bounced it perfectly, got out, so that's super exciting. And it's been trading since. It's currently not in a trade. So LTC has killed it 9 days. It's made $169 on that 5K account just in the one direction. And we're not currently in a trade at all. So I want to do the same exact thing that I did on ETH. I'm going to take away this second DCA because we're not in a trade, so we want to kind of reset, right? And then I'm just going to reset this to 6, 7, and we're at 8:57. I got the lawnmower passing my front window here, so hopefully that's not too loud for you guys. All right, so we got the yellow candle closed, so we are set. Now we just need to go to anytime you make the change, guys, I'm going to keep repeating it because I don't want you guys to forget. You want to make sure that you delete that alert because you do not want two alerts. ATA, Gambit, LTC, long. And now we're reset, guys. LTC can just get back to making some money. I recommend once you get out of a trade, always pull back that second DCA. You guys have seen now over and over and over again on these huddles where we do one DCA and the second DCA is very, very TA placed, right? And sometimes they take a little bit to get out, but almost every single time, even overextended like this, right, we worked our way to where we do get out of them. So let's take a look at the short. So looks like the short also got out here. So that played out perfectly, and it's been shorting since 7 days, made 25 bucks. It did take a short and it has one DCA, so it's a little bit stuck just like ETH. But again, I'm not going to touch this one just like ETH because it's not been in there very long. So we want to let's let the market see what it wants to do before we go in and make any changes. So if you are following me, you can pause to read. That is the settings that I'm using here. All right, so we're gonna go Matic. This one's interesting on Matic. I'm curious because Matic fell like really hard. But it did pump back up, so hopefully it got out. Let's see. If not, yeah, it looks like it. I anticipated it'd be a little bit stuck. Matic took a beating for some reason. I didn't see any news or whatever, but I saw it was like 8% down. I mean, look at this absolute beating. I'm okay with it, guys. I'm not gonna stress about Matic. We did do a second DCA, so I'm gonna let that roll. But man, look at that absolute collapse. From, I mean, if you think about it, aside from this pump up here, we just kind of had that rising channel and it just collapsed. So let's look a little deeper at Matic because we obviously don't have a low we can watch. So our low is going to be as low as 30 cents. I don't think we're going to that anytime soon. You can kind of see our next low is probably within this range. I'm gonna just mark this previous low here. I'll put a line, and then that will basically tell me. I honestly would not touch a third DCA on this. I'd have to get pretty low, like maybe the 69 cents, or even lower before I touch a third one. Otherwise, I'll just wait. Keep in mind, Matic guys is I mean, look at the history. It is one that loves to just do this, crazy fall, and then it just explodes out of nowhere, right? It comes like this, explodes out of nowhere, over a cross, boom, explodes out of nowhere. So, if I gotta hold this one for a little bit, that's fine. I'm not too worried about it. It's a good project. So, let's take a look at Solana. Remember, we added that one up there. These guys came to cut the grass. Perfect timing. All right, it shouldn't be too loud for you guys. So Sol looks like it's doing good. We do have a short that is still rolling. You can see it looks like it caught this short. It just got out before the actual fall, so that's kind of a bummer, but it happens. And then it's just been shorting like crazy ever since. 2 days, made about $10 on that. So not too bad. We're in a short now. It doesn't look like it's in profit. A little bit between the profit and the DCA1. If you guys aren't running Sol, this was the settings that I was running. You can pause to read. But I'm not going to touch the shorts. Shorts are looking pretty good. Let's take a look at the long. Okay, so the long looks like it's a little bit down here. So the entry is 21, so we're not too deep really. We did do a second DCA, so this one's gonna be similar to Matic. I'm probably not gonna touch it. It's either gonna get out on its own, or we'll wait till let's see. I'm gonna mark a low, so I probably won't third DCA this one until it gets to this range down here. So we'll have to let this one sit out, but I think it'll work itself out. So the good news is, guys, the whole purpose of these ATAs is always have something working for you. But so we're actually set up really well considering the movement we had and how overextended we are, because we have Aave that's not too bad. We have ETH that is back to work, LTC that's back to work. We have Matic that is a little bit deeper, but not too bad. It'll landman up, and then we have Sol shorts back to work and the longs that are stuck. So we have still 5 directions that are working for us. So we're still gonna earn quite a bit on that. So. Overall, considering how much we're running here, I mean, we have a good plan. A lot of our plans played out, so I'm super happy about that. If you guys are, interested in these automated tradings, and you guys, just are struggling with the technology or understanding how to do it, the good news is we are, like I've said, building a copy trade setup where you can actually initiate a ATA to copy trade just everything that you see me doing here. Really excited about that. We're hoping to launch that here coming up pretty soon. We are working on that as we speak, so more to come on that. TikTok, I will answer some questions here in about 10 minutes. Everybody else, we'll put out the room guidance. If you guys want to come trade with us and you're on YouTube or TikTok, you simply just have to go to our trading floor here, and I will post the link right in there. You guys can even come in for free. But once you get in and you kind of see how we trade and what we do, I'm pretty sure you're going to want our products. In our community, we don't really charge you for trading with us or basic education. We just, we charge you for the products because we want to ensure that the products pay for themselves, which the ATAs do, as well as the indicators. So appreciate you guys' time. I'm going to end the community one here, and TikTok I'll answer questions, so sit tight.